And we are live, WrestlePurists Worldwide, hosted by myself, Joe Hulbert, and Ibu. It was a loaded weekend, so we've got quite a lot to get into today. TNA is back. CM Punk was at their tapings, and of course, a bunch of wrestling. We're also hoping to have a special guest as well joining us today. But first things first, please like, subscribe, send any super chats with any questions, any takes that you want to get into us, turn on the post notifications. Hope everyone's doing good. Starting with my fellow co-hosts. Ibu, back up Hangman, Ibu of WrestlePurists. How was your weekend?
It was pretty good. Pretty good. I still have not been paid money by my cousin who owes me money. Yeah, he shared his Instagram story, and I'm not lying when I say that he showed that his bank account had $125,000 in it. So clearly he's engaged in some illegal activity. Not my business. Please pay me my money. Has not paid me my money.
Snitching on your cousin to start the podcast, man.
What are you gonna do? I mean, God,
that's crazy.
I'll call the cops myself. Fuck, goddamn.
90 seconds in.
Like, he sells drugs. Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Wrestling. I watched a lot of wrestling from a lot of different promotions. I'm attempting to enjoy all wrestling right now. I'm attempting. You know, I watched a little bit of Defy, watched some Impact, watched some WWE, some AEW, so on and so forth. But I'm really here, guys, for one reason. I'm here to cross the line because TNA is back. I didn't say Impact. I said total nonstop action wrestling. I'm ready. I'm so ready.
Nostalgia, brother. Hulbert, I know you're fired up as well for TNA. How are you doing?
I'm tremendous. I can still hear those chants. I can still hear them. At times they've been faint, at times they've been distant, but right now they're louder than ever. Those letters, familiar letters, ricocheting, echoing through my brain. I'm very, thrilled and excited to be here for a new era in the sport of professional wrestling. Later this evening, myself and Ibu are going to start an official campaign, which we'll get to. Please stay tuned for that.
Absolutely.
We have a wonderful interview to conduct also, and maybe a little bit along the way we'll review a few wrestling matches if you really want. So I am here campaigning, absolutely. Go ahead, Ibu.
Transparently, I should add that we're just going to tell Leon Slater to go to TNA. You know, we're just going to...
Well, that wasn't what I was referencing, but we can...
He comes on, we're like, have you heard of
we want them all, brother. I know you two saw the tweet that I'd done earlier about Punk and Ospreay. You know, yes. I got to drum up the interest. So the tweet was, for those that haven't seen it, it was I think it was something along the lines of, if Impact TNA signed Punk and Ospreay, would that be enough for you to start watching weekly? Bro, I was surprised by the amount of people who were just like, Punk's enough for me. Like, so many people.
Yeah. Even if you don't like CM Punk, there's probably a little part of your brain that's intrigued by the idea of him working for Impact Wrestling or TNA, God forbid. There's a novelty to that, So it was a very funny tweet. The imagery paired with those words is incredible. This is a bit that we really have a couple months to maximize because this is almost certainly not going to be a real thing. So we really just have to have as much fun as we can in this next couple months. So we're going to maximize that here tonight, folks. We hope you enjoyed the ride.
Listen, mate, I'm ready for Impact to, turn a new leaf again, an old leaf. TNA is back. So we've already started talking about it. That's why we're starting today with the return of TNA. This was announced at the end of Impact's Bound for Glory pay-per-view. Of course, their big pay-per-view of the year. Or one of them, anyway. Video package at the end. TNA is back. There was a press release. Scott doing more than an announcement to the live crowd after the show went off air. TNA is back. Old logo is back. Like I said, there was a press release. Everything. That some new belts are coming. People are fired up, man. There's been a couple people who have kind of turned their nose up it and like, well, what's the difference going to be? And it's like, that may be a fair, logical question.
Maybe.
That ain't the point, man. We TNA's back. And speaking of TNA, we've been joined by someone who I believe is working for them this week. One of the fastest
what's up, fellas?
upcoming, youngest indie stars out there right now. Leon Slater, fellow.
What's going on?
What's going on?
How's it going, fellas? Everyone cool?
Tremendous,
man.
absolutely.
Wicked. Good to hear, man.
Appreciate you joining us quite late. I know it's 11 p.m. in the UK. I'm not sure if you're used to doing interviews this late, but we got you. We're happy to have you. And
I'm happy to be here, bro. Thank you.
Happy days. But we were just talking about TNA and when you signing, bro.
I don't know, man. I guess we'll see what happens after these 4 days for real. I'm hoping for the best.
Yeah, man. You're over there in the UK. Do you know who your opponent is yet?
I've honestly no clue, bro. I'm waiting just like the rest of you guys, but hopefully it's something wicked. Yeah,
man. But yeah, like I said, one of the fastest upcoming young indie stars out there right now. You've had quite the year or two past 2022, 2023. Just to name some of the people that you've wrestled: Will Ospreay, Zack Sabre Jr., Speedball, Takeshita, Leo Rush, Suji. You've had quite the year. For real. Yeah, absolutely.
I got something I want to say to Leon. Like,
go on,
because you're coming along now in these last couple of years, right? And a lot of the narratives that were kind of circulating online from people was that after kind of WWE swept through a lot of the high end talents on the independent scene a couple of years ago, that it left the UK indies kind of in a tough spot, right? Mm-hmm. But what I've at least noticed, paying attention, I've had a closer eye on Rev Pro this year because people have kind of been telling me about how like they've been making a bit of a comeback, right? And as I survey the landscape, what I'm seeming to notice, and I don't have the same amount of scope as someone else watching closer, but it does seem like there's some recovery happening there, and there's a lot of new names I'm hearing and that are popping up on these shows and the independents that are starting to get some bookings on some of these New Japan International shows and so on and so forth. Among those names is yours. From your perspective, are we back?
Yes.
Okay. Back, yeah. So, like, from your perspective, since you're in it, right? Do you feel like there's a comeback happening with the UK Indies?
For sure, bro. 100%. Like, and to be honest, I wasn't even too much a part of the scene before the pandemic, like before everyone got swept up by the big companies and stuff. But I watched it as a fan, and I could see how the scene was just buzzing, bro. Every show was packed to the brim, bro. People, like, seating was full, standing was full, venues were packed. And, like, I think it is getting to the point now where we're getting those draws back. Like, people are really investing in like what we're doing in the UK, and it's not just because New Japan's coming here, it's not just because AEW is coming here, it's because people like myself, Luke Jacobs, Ricky Knight Jr., man like Darius, like the UK scene is popping, bro. And it's not just because of the people coming in, it's the people that have been building it from the ground up, and I'm super proud to be a part of that.
Mm-hmm. It's happened super quickly too. Like, I remember seeing you wrestle, Leon. I saw you had a tag match in like July 2022. Mm-hmm. And I remember talking to a couple of our pals on the screen here about you, and at the time, it felt like you were a relative unknown. Within 2 months of that, everyone was aware of the name. How has that been, like, adjusting to that as the wrestler? Right? Like, you log on to Twitter one day and you see your GIF going crazy. Mm-hmm. How is that kind of dealing with that?
It's very surreal, and to be honest, it never really hits me like as heavy as you think it would, or like it doesn't hit me super often, at least, because stuff moves so fast, especially from like maybe March last year. I was having this conversation with my mum like literally the other night. It went from debuting on Progress to wrestling Speedball and Takeshita to wrestling Zack Sabre Jr. to wrestling Leo Rush to wrestling Will Ospreay, and it's all happening like just over 18 months, I think. So it all moves so fast, it doesn't really catch me. But there'll be times where, like, on the way home from a show, like at night when I'm chilling out, and I really like kind of look at my social media, I'll check my phone, I'll check the messages I have, and it really hits me like, damn, I'm really like doing what I've been wanting to do since I was like 4 years old, which is like the craziest part about it. So I'm very appreciative of like all the opportunities and stuff I've got so far, and obviously looking forward to the future and getting more.
How old are you, Leon? You're still 17, right?
I'm 19 right now.
Oh, you turned 19.
19 at the end of September. Yeah.
Right.
He's getting old on us.
Yeah, for real. My bones started aching this morning, bro. I woke up on my back clicked, so I was like, damn, I'm getting old.
It's the bumping, bro.
Yeah, so all those you've been active, like you said. The past 18 months have probably, they've been crazy for you. You've just wrestled, I think, 3 matches this past weekend.
Yeah.
When the British J Cup, Rev Pro have been booking you. You've done a US excursion recently. I asked the same thing to Brian Keith because he's been doing a lot of indie bookings as well recently, and it's like, how have you been like coping with that, and how's the recovery been, and all that sort of stuff?
So the toll on my body has definitely started to become more apparent to me this year for sure. But I try my best to prevent this stuff from happening. Like, I'm in the gym like 3-4 days a week, you know what I'm saying? After matches, I'm stretching. Before matches, I'm stretching. And I've realized that it's not even the matches for real that like kill the body. It's doing a 25-minute match, however long it may be, and then sitting on a 3-hour train ride or a 4-hour drive back home. And that's what really kills you. So, man, I've just been doing what I can, because obviously I want to do this for a long time. I want to make a lot of money. I want to make a good legacy in this thing. So I have to do this for a long time. And I've already been doing this for a long time. I started training when I was 9 years old. So I'm already 10 years in taking bumps and shit. So I try and do what I can, but it's definitely something I keep a big focus on for sure.
So
is it hard? Sorry, my bad. Is it hard to, to us, when your name gets brought up, everyone talks about how young you are, right? But to you, you're the one living that journey, and you've been training for all these years. Is that frustrating at times when everyone kind of has the attitude of, oh, he'll get there. Don't worry about Leon. He's got years ahead of him. I'm sure for you, it's like, I want it now, right? You're ready to go. You feel like, I'm sure.
Yes, bro. That's such a great question because I feel like that all the time, man. Like, especially like the back end of last year where I really thought like I was kind of breaking that mold of just being another young guy. But people every time, just because of my age, it was like, damn, this guy, once he gets more experience under his wings, and of course there is lessons to be learned still, and I still have so much to learn because you never stop learning, as many people say. But I think since maybe March this year, since maybe spring this year, I've started to be recognized as just one of the top guys in the UK, especially, not just one of the top young guys. And I hope I start to make that impact worldwide, I hope I start to get recognized as one of the best wrestlers in the world. And that's what I plan to do in the next few years.
So, Leon, you mentioned how, like, you do want to really, you're paying attention to the business side. You want to make some money. You want to be real successful in this business. My question for you is, within the industry, right, who are some of the guys right now that are in your ear that are kind of giving you advice about, like, career decisions and, things that you should be, directions you should take and that type of thing? Like, who are the guys right now that you kind of take seriously that you're in regular communication with when it comes to mentorship and where you're going?
Mm-hmm. So the person I have to share the most love to is my coach, Leon Slater, who coaches me down at Pursuit Pro Wrestling in Sheffield. Since we came back from the pandemic, he's changed my life. I wouldn't be the person I am today. I wouldn't be the wrestler I am today without Leon Slater. So big ups to him. Another person I consider a mentor, although we had our problems recently, is Dan Maloney. He's always been kind of a big brother to me in wrestling. He's always had great advice on not just wrestling as well, on life. And again, I wouldn't be the person I am today without him. And I'm really fortunate enough to be around Will Ospreay a lot more frequently this year, as he's been in the UK a lot, and especially to work with him in July. It's been great to kind of see how he operates and get the occasional message of him and little chips of knowledge, So like I said, man, the UK scene is bustling, and we got a lot of people like Dan, like Will, that have gone off to New Japan, that are doing big things, that are coming back here and helping out younger guys like me. So I'm in a very blessed position.
It feels like it's happening fast.
Mm-hmm.
Like Maloney, you see these names circulate in online spaces, and then you catch them on an indie show. Then you see them get to like the New Japan booking, and then it's almost like within a snap they have a role in a big spot. So it's just crazy. Monty, you're gonna ask him something?
Yeah, speaking of being worldwide, and you just mentioned New Japan, of course, Will Ospreay. You was recently on the Royal Quest card.
Yes.
Yeah, man. So New Japan booking. Is that something you're looking to do more of and hoping to get out of the UK with those New Japan bookings?
100%, bro. I want to be the best Super Junior. So that's something I'm definitely looking forward to in the future. And I know it's going to come. But Royal Quest was a great opportunity. Again, I got to work with Dan, and the first time working with Clark as well. Those boys are incredible. And
that was a good match.
My tag team partner for the night, Cameron Kai, he is only 18 years old. And he's built like a fucking animal, bro. That guy, he's got a crazy future too. So shout out Cameron Kai. But yeah, man, Royal Quest was a great opportunity. And again, like just to be around the people like Will and be around Tanahashi and Ishii and like see how everyone operates. I feel like even if I didn't wrestle and I wasn't on the card, I would have learned so much just from being in that environment, you know? So again, just super thankful for the opportunities I've been getting recently.
You mentioned Ospreay, and I think the kind of, because of the highlight reel that your work provides, that's the natural comparison a lot of people make, right? He was a guy who exploded. Next thing you knew, he was wrestling in Okada or whatever it may be. One of the things that's been really important to his development and what he's become now is the range within his game, right? Like how skillful he is across the board. It struck me when you wrestled Zack Sabre Jr. last December, I believe, that you have more range than I think people may realize when they see the clips and the GIFs, right? Is that something that you're happy to kind of keep in your back pocket for the most part? Or is it something you're going to kind of show people in the coming years, or is it something you're still working on? Where are you at in terms of your like versatility inside the ropes?
I feel like I'm a lot more versatile than people kind of give me credit for. But at the same time, I'm happy for people to find that out. You know what I mean? I'm more than happy for the Swanton 450 to blow up millions and millions of times and people to love me like that.
Crazy ass move. I've never seen that shit. Like,
I appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, I remember the first time I caught it. I genuinely, I'm not even trying to gas. Like, I genuinely, I was like, wait, did he do a 450 at the end?
That's crazy.
Like, I went back. I was like, oh snap, that's kind of dope.
Yes. So I'm more than happy for that shit to blow up on Twitter and stuff and get the eyes on me and get the kind of viral attention. But when the thing that I'm proud of is when people really look into my work and see what I'm really about, then I'm more than just a cool flip on the internet. You know what I mean? I can put promos, I can wrestle, I can chain wrestle, I can high fly, I can strike. You know what I mean? I'm very proud of my versatility, but again, something I'm working on. And there's always areas to get better.
Yeah, absolutely. What was I going to say? I was going to bring something up. Yeah. Next US excursion, you've recently went over to the US, done a few dates at GCW. I think it was in August.
Yes.
You got anything else planned? Anything else that we can keep an eye out for over in the States?
So I got no dates so far, but the US is obviously a big goal of mine, and I wanted to get back out there ASAP. So I think I'm gonna try and test the waters in January, the new year. So that's what people should be looking out for sure.
My question for you is, what are your long-term goals in the industry?
It's a difficult one, man, because I've always said, like, I'm not going to retire until I've completed wrestling like it's a video game, bro. Like, I want to go to every level, complete every step of every level, and then stop. I want to go to Impact. I want to go to WWE, AEW, New Japan. I want to do it all, man. I guess to put it shortly, I want to be one of the greatest to ever do it. I want to be in that top 5, top 3, top 1 conversation, you know? And it's crazy that I'm actually on the journey to do that, because it's always been in my head since I was a little boy, since I decided I want to be a wrestler.
It's a blessing.
And now, for real, it really is. I live such a blessed life, bro. I can't state that enough, how thankful I am for everything. All the opportunities I've been given, all the people, all my circle around me. I'm so thankful for this life I get to live. And like I was saying, it's crazy to actually be on this journey after thinking about it so much. I'd be in school, bro, sat writing English papers. I'm like, nah, man, I can't wait to go training on the weekend, bro. So yeah, it's I want to be the greatest of all time, short and sweet. And we're on the journey to do it, I think. I mean, I'm the youngest British J-Cup winner of all time. I'm the youngest person to ever wrestle for Progress. One of the youngest people to ever wrestle for New Japan, I'm sure. One of the youngest people on the GCW roster. I keep ticking these boxes, man, and I'm trying to tick more and more and more as we go on. So I'm looking forward to it.
In fear of scaring anyone that's watching this, so you started training when you were 9, you said, right?
Yes.
Which would be 2013, 2014 range. So, folks, I know, just take a deep breath on that one. Now, I'm intrigued. So, who were the guys you were watching when you first started training? Because generally, when we ask that question, it's not someone who was training in 2014, 2013. So who was your influences, you know?
Yeah, so at the time when I started training, obviously being so young, I didn't really have much awareness of like the independent scene. So I was still big on WWE. So like at the time, I remember that's when the Shield was breaking out, and I was in love with Seth Rollins, bro. Like back before the back injuries and the knee injuries, bro. That boy used to fly. Like he was a mover, dog. So Seth Rollins was always a big one for me. And I'll always say my top 3 growing up was Shelton Benjamin, Jeff Hardy, and Rob Van Dam. So I always take influence of those 3 guys to this day, but especially when I started training.
Those are you named 2 of my 3 favorites when I was a kid there with RVD and Shelton, man. But they it just, for me, I know when I grew up watching like WWE, like I liked all the main eventers that they pushed, but I always took to like the athletic guys on the undercard kind of doing all the crazy stuff. So I could see that. When did you get into wrestling?
To be honest, bro, I can't even remember like the exact day. Wrestling is just something that's kind of always been around in my life. But back in the day, I used to live next to my cousin. And I would always go over to my cousin's house, and we used to play SmackDown versus Raw, and it's like PS2 or PS3, I think it was at the time. Yeah. And then he was super into wrestling too. He had all like the replica belts and the figures and stuff. So when he grows out of it, as most people do, I kind of got all his hand-me-downs, and it became an even bigger thing in my life. But like I said, wrestling is something that's kind of always been around for me, and I can't really remember a time where it wasn't.
When Monty, hearing from Leon, and like when we talk to or when I talk to you guys, like Charlie, you know what always fascinates me is the wrestling culture and coming up on it in the UK. You know what I mean? Like just the experience of that. Because one of the things that always is echoed by everybody is how you all like TNA over there, you know?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Like the time that Leon started training, they were still like filling Wembley Arena. Or coming close to it. They were hot. They're on national TV. It was a different time, brother. Maybe coming back, we'll see.
It's coming back, you know.
It's coming back, yeah. My bad for the maybe. It's coming back.
Leon's going to get the X Division belt, you know.
You already know, bro.
He's got the booking, you know what I mean? He's gonna chat with Scott back there, and he's gonna wheel and deal and shit.
Bro, it's like now you mention it, it's so crazy to like be wrestling for Impact like TNA next week, because I remember, bro, we didn't have Sky Sports back in the day, so I couldn't watch WWE on the regular for real. Like I remember watching Superstars on like a Saturday morning or something. But apart from that, like I remember TNA they still do to this day, bro. They upload the whole pay-per-view on YouTube. So I used to sit in my mom's office at work and just scrounge the TNA YouTube like from top to bottom, bro. Every AJ Styles match you could think of, Abyss, Kurt Angle, Jeff Hardy, bro. All of them. So now you put it like that, bro. To wrestle for Impact this week is a massive blessing.
I think one of the things that's going in your favor when it comes to some of your aspirations in the future is that like a lot of these companies that you're looking to touch on more and kind of pass by more, they're kind of like, if not in conjunction with each other, they're kind of they're very friendly with each other. So what I mean by that is like AEW has a solid, increasingly cohesive relationship with Rev Pro, and they're starting to forge something with the CMLL, for example. New Japan and AEW are on good terms, and so once you start getting in that real rotation, right, where you can start touching visibility and the I guess just the visibility of the fame, whatever you want to call it. It's just gonna.
There he is.
Wait, did I lag out?
What happened?
You're back. You're fine. Carry on.
Did I disappear?
Yeah, you disappeared.
You're good. Carry on.
All right. The point I'm making is a lot of these companies are kind of like in the same orbit or in conjunction with each other, and so what bodes well for your future aspirations is the fact that, like, you know, once you kind of touch on a little more Rev Pro, a little more New Japan, you know, you maybe get an AEW booking hopefully in the future. The notoriety is going to come so fast. You know what I mean? The visibility, the name recognition. And I think that bodes well for someone like you, because I have seen you wrestle. And you're one of those types of guys that you leave a show that you watch, like a Rev Pro event. And one of the big takeaways is like, yo, that motherfucker Leon Slater, like he's coming. You know, so like if you really do show out in these next couple bookings, like it'll mean a lot for you in your career prospects. So I'm genuinely rooting for you.
Thank you, bro. I'm like... Yeah. Like you said, bro, like everything is so like connected now. Like the forbidden door is not so forbidden anymore. You know what I mean? Like the forbidden door is there, bro. The door is open for everywhere. So like the future is super exciting for everyone, for real.
It's crazy.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so 2024. Will Ospreay, he seems like he's stepping away from the indies, so he says. We'll see how that goes, because we all know Will Ospreay loves to he loves his bookings, you know. So unless he gets that exclusive contract that's ironclad, then I don't know. you know. But anyway, it seems like he's stepping away from the Indies. Ospreay has been a huge part of the British Indies over the past few years. You know, he's always been kind of like a reliable draw. You know, someone who can like get a few tickets sold and stuff like that. Him coming over and wrestling people like yourself, like Ricky Knight Jr., helping put, you know, like some of the younger guys and some of the really talented guys in the UK over. And with him, you know, kind of stepping away. And we've talked about the British Indies like kind of being on like kind of like an uptick at the moment with people like yourself, Luke Jacobs, Michael Oku. There's quite a few of you guys around poking around. But do you see like with Will Ospreay stepping away in 2024? Do you kind of see that as like a slot opening that one of you guys can step into?
1,000%. I mean, like you said, bro, Will has provided such a draw for us since we came back from the pandemic and even before that. So with him gone, there's definitely, I think it'll definitely like instill an extra hunger into the locker room, especially in Rev Pro, where he was performing at the most to kind of fill that spot and for us to become the draw.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so one last thing. I'll ask you the cliche question.
Oh boy,
another 2024 question.
Go for it.
Who's on the Leon Slater hit list for 2024? Who are you hoping to tick off the? Because you've already ticked off, like, you know, a lot of British indie wrestlers would love to wrestle Will Ospreay, Zack Sabre Jr., guys like that. You've already ticked them off, and you're still a teenager, you know. So, who's on the list for 2024?
It's a tough one, bro. Because like you said, I've been blessed with so many of these kind of dream matches already. But a big one for me is Swerve Strickland. I'd love to make it one day. So that's a huge one for me. Another one that I'd like to get take off the list is Kevin Knight. I think me and him would tear it up. And then another one for me who I take a big inspiration from. Shout outs to Myron Reed. I'd love to mix up with Myron too. I think he's so tough. But I think Swerve, Kevin, and Myron is my top 3 hit list for 2024 for sure.
I think they all happen too, to be honest.
Yeah, me too, bro. Me too. I don't see how they don't, to be honest.
Yeah, as long as you know, as long as the bookers know, it's probably something that the bookers would probably throw together anyway. You know, if they got the opportunity. So, especially if you kind of nudge in that direction, I'm sure it's very, very possible that all those things can happen for you in 2024. Amongst a lot of other things, you've had like you've said, like we've said, past 18 months, 2022, 2023, you've done a lot. It's been quite a fast, you know, upswing for you, and it doesn't seem like it's slowing down anytime soon. Especially with, like, you know, you just had a big weekend just gone, literally like the other day. So, yeah, man, appreciate you coming. And we've actually got a couple. Someone asked a question.
We got a super test for him or something?
We had a super chat from Princess Diana.
Princess Diana.
$10. Leon, the British wrestling scene has had some great momentum between Wembley Weekend and the New Japan shows. How does RevPro and others keep this momentum and try to hit the heights of pre-pandemic?
That's a difficult question, bro, because to be in the mind of Andy Quilden is a very, very difficult task.
I can imagine.
But I know from the chat to have with Andy, we've got big plans. Obviously, we're heading to Crystal Palace on December 16th. Luke Jacobs versus Tomohiro Ishii. Number 2 has been announced for that date. So I don't see a way that Rev Pro doesn't keep going up and up and up, to be honest. Because like you said, we've got guys like myself, Luke Jacobs, Ricky Knight, Michael Oku, Gabe Kidd. Andy says it all the time. We've got one of the deepest and best rosters that Rev Pro's ever seen. So I think the more stuff like the New Japan collabs and the Wembley weekends keep happening, the more eyes we get on us. It's just up and up and up for Rev Pro, to be honest.
The Uprising show, December 15th, 16th, I think 16th, it is. Yes, December 16th. That'll be a big one, you know.
Why is Princess Diana sending us money in US dollars? That's my.
No, but I'm just thankful it was a real question because it could.
Our live chat doesn't make a lot of sense a lot of the time, you know.
Yeah, you should be questioning how Princess Diana is sending you money from the grave. Never mind.
Good point. Yeah, good call.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Thank you, Princess Diana. Do we have any more for Leon? Oh, let's go.
I guess, bro, $5. Lots of British accents on display here, lol. Big up Slater, though, one of the most underrated in the game.
Appreciate you, bro.
Monty, is Leon a Brummy, as you say?
Why are you asking me? The guy's right there.
So I'm actually born up north, but you already know I'm repping 0121 all day.
Right.
Obviously, man like Darius and Dan Maloney being big brothers to me in this thing, so I'll always rep Brum wherever I go.
That's what's
There you
up.
go.
That's what's up. Yeah.
He's flying the flag. 012, youngest in charge.
Come on.
Literally, probably the fastest in terms of like how the trajectory being so like steeply upward at the moment. You know, probably is the fastest rising free agent in the game right now. So appreciate your time massively. And he has I know we've kind of machine gunned a lot of questions at you, but you know, it's been great talking to you, man. Really appreciate it.
It's been good to have been good to be here, man. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it, for real.
And finally, you got anything you want to plug before you get out of here?
The socials is at Leon Slater _ and if you want to copy any of my fresh merch, new collection coming out soon. It's official 001.bigcartel.com.
Thank you, Leon. Appreciate it, brother.
No worries. Thank you guys for having me. Have a blessed night. See you guys later.
You as well, brother.
Peace out. Youngest in charge, Leon Slater, everyone. Massively appreciate him for, I think we spent about 20 minutes chatting with him. And,
there was a moment there, Monty. There was a moment. Many great answers. We all know how talented Leon Slater is. He even respected the business and kept kayfabe with Drilla Maloney.
Yes.
That was the moment where that contract value jumped a little bit. You know,
I checked for Joe's look in his eye because what I was looking for was, did anyone catch that?
He couldn't even hide it. He just giggled in the background.
I was like, I popped my fist. I was like,
no, he really is. I mean, I remember talking to Monty about because I went to the Progress show. Remember the show that Swerve was supposed to be on, Monty, that you give me a lot of stick about because he didn't make the town. And the big revelation was Leon Slater. He was in the opening match, and he was like, it was ridiculous things he could do. 18 months later, it feels like a world away, right? Because so much has happened. So it was great to have him on Worldwide for sure.
Yeah, literally, he's flying, man. In the ring, and you know, what's the word I'm looking for?
In life, in the world.
Yeah, he'll do. You know, he's killing it. He's killing it right now, and you know,
great attitude.
Absolutely, and the past couple of weeks or so, we've been trying to do a few more interviews. Of course, we can't always get the AEW World Champion MJF, but when we do get a free agent or an indie star, we do try and make it someone that is absolutely worth your guys' time.
It's funny
I think so far. Go on.
It's funny you say that because while this interview was taking place, an AEW wrestler messaged me and said, "Hey, when can I come on the show?" So I guess we have something to talk about when we go off the air.
Brian's coming on next week. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, the American Dragon, brother.
Paul White.
We would put up 50, bro. The questions I'd have for Paul White, I just would ask about that Sheamus match over and over. But nonetheless, we have wrestling time. My bad. We're back on track, folks.
We're trying to get even when we get the free agents and the indie stars in, like I said, we try to make it ones that are definitely worth your time. Like, look at the three we've just brought in: Brian Keith, Leon Slater, and Darius Lockhart. Who, you know, that's not me trying to force anything when I say I'm a fan of all three of them, but. Yeah, man. Should we do some super chats before we go back to TNA? Because I think we have some unfinished business with TNA. Darren Cagey, $5. Appreciate you, boys. Hear me out. Punk, Ospreay, Wembley Stadium, Bound for Glory 2024. Listen, brother, we've discussed this at length in the group chat.
Time stands still, brother.
I think they could get 16 in there.
Absolutely not, but respect.
Darren Walker, £5. Appreciate you. Punk signs to TNA, and for the first time ever, get Punk and Buddy Ray in a wrestling ring. Let them cook in 15-minute promos.
Joe, why don't you tell Monty what you told me in the match ratings chat about this match?
Well, we were kicking around some matchups for our friend CM Punk in Total Nonstop Action, and I believe it was Charlie. Innocent Charlie just threw out their Bully Ray. I believe it was Charlie. If it wasn't, I apologize, Chuck, but I read this and realized that Ibu was in the chat and was like, this would turn Ibu of WrestlePurists into an animal. He'd become some sort of monster, some sort of savage. He'd be posting ECW logos on the timeline, you know. He'd be like Atten Scott Moore, run Hammerstein, bro. Like, it would kind of be disgusting, but maybe it's worth it.
The promos would just be incredible.
I don't even think, like, I mean, I guess, yeah, if you want. I don't know. I'm not going to fight you on this. I don't want to argue with you. All right, yeah, sure.
We've got too much to get through to debate this back and forth, you know.
I'm not Mickey Gall. I'll knock you out.
Zayd 94.99, appreciate you. It's funny how much more invested I am. I have become with WWE since 2022 in comparison to AEW. The momentum switch is real. What are things you're changing at AEW? Whew. People always ask this at the moment, don't they? Fucking my light's all over the place at the minute. People always ask this, like, how do you fix the ticket sales?
It's a hard thing because you can
tough.
do like big things or you can do small things, and it's like the worst answer possible is, what if they just push the wrestlers I like, which, while funny, doesn't really achieve much. The one thing I would say in this format where we're trying to go quick is, I think it'd be really worth considering in a bigger picture sense, what is our identity as a promotion? What are we trying to achieve with our promotion? What's the image we're trying to portray? Are we going to be the home of, worldwide pro wrestling and use our collaborations to host these matchups that WWE can never host? Or are we going to do a more traditional, conventional television product? It doesn't have to be one extreme or the other, but I think that's the biggest question that I personally think AEW has struggled to answer in 2023. So that would be my thing, is more of an identity thing.
A lot of my answers.
Actually, I agree. As in, that would be the thing top of my list, would be clear identity.
Because that's actually important, more than putting the belt on Joe or whatever, which will pop you and I.
Yeah, but I mean, besides that, because I totally agree with you guys, is a lot of my answers are things that just won't happen or just are not realistic. Like I can easily go like,
bring back CM Punk.
No, not even that. That's cooked. No, more like it was up to me. I'm canceling every show besides Dynamite because what's hit me is AEW. Well,
piece away those dollars, bro.
Yeah, that's
the thing. That's not gonna happen because TV hours, you get paid for it. It's why when everyone goes like, "Oh my God, Raw should go to 2 hours," they get paid for the third hour. But anyway, what's occurred to me watching Collision, right, was just that like there's like good stuff within these shows, kind of spread thin a bit, and it's like when you sit through 3 hours of AEW from like Collision to Battle of the Belts, I think it hurts the anticipation for Dynamite. You almost got a feel of AEW in a way where like. When there was only Dynamite, it's like you were kind of itching to that next Dynamite sometimes, But now when there's so much of AEW, I guess appetite for it is not as much. I guess is kind of the easiest way I could say it.
No, you're right. You're absolutely correct. It's not. That's the role that wrestling plays in wider media rights and such is it can give you a lot of hours for a relatively cheap price. So. That was inevitable. They're always going to increase the hours of the show. It's just part of the game.
If it was up to me, SmackDown is an hour. NXT is 30 minutes on Peacock. Raw is
30 minutes is crazy, bro. 30 minutes is
that's
crazy.
So awesome. Could you imagine that?
30
Imagine trying to get like a free segment show. Like.
Yeah, 30 minutes on Peacock. Raw is 90. Dynamite is Dynamite. Rampage is dead. You do some shit on YouTube if you want for an hour, and then there's no Collision, All
right. Collision Cowboy, $6.99 Canadian, appreciate you. It seems like WWE has finally found their identity and understand what their audience wants to see. We were just talking about identity just now, so WWE kind of they're flying at the moment, man. Like, what can you say? They're selling. Yeah. They're doing like 10. They're doing 10K twice a week, every week. They're fucking selling out every pay per view. They're just killing it right now. Their audience is loving it
tonight.
It's crazy. This is what I mean.
They just opened up. They got rid of the stage for Survivor Series to sell like 6,000 more seats, and like those are set to finish being sold. So.
Princess Diana.
Oh,
explaining her dollar situation. $5. Appreciate it. It's US dollars because I'm here watching over my favorite son. All right. Brainbuster $4.99. Appreciate it. One of my dogs passed away this morning, so I appreciate y'all going live and distracting me. Keep up the great work. Very sorry to hear that, Brainbuster. That always stings, man. Losing a pet, especially if it's like a long-term one, which I'm sure this was. Sorry to hear it, man. Hoping
all the best.
Hoping it wasn't anything, too upsetting. It's tough. Happy we can provide a distraction, like you said, talking about TNA.
Sure.
The best way to grieve. TNA. $5. Need the Ospreay to TNA supporters, in brackets Ibu, to address how bad that would be after the 5 to 7 matches we all want to see are done.
Okay, look.
Yeah, go.
And I say this with respect, and especially considering our guest opened the show. I'm not trying to disrespect any individuals, but did you see some of the matches that Ospreay had when he made a point of like, I'm going to elevate guys in the British scene? But did you watch some of those matches? There were some fellas that were, I mean,
ham and eggers. You know,
and he was going 30 with them. And Dave was saying, that's 5 fucking stars, brother.
Every time.
You give him like Ace Austin or some shit, he's going to go nuts. We'll get into it like when we start our campaign. But if there is a wrestler who is truly thrilled by the idea of taking Eric Young to a 25-minute 5-star match, it is.
It'll fucking
Will
do it.
Ospreay.
Big Will.
Bro. That Kazarian match, Ibu?
He, you know. Listen, look, I'll put it to you this way. He is so exceedingly talented and so consistent with the level of effort that he gives at this moment on a match-by-match basis that I genuinely believe he will succeed at the highest level in any company he goes to.
Yeah, he's a freak.
I say any.
Yeah, I think he's good with whatever he chooses to do.
Including the World Wrestling Federation. Like, I think anywhere he fucking goes, he'll just get in there.
Some talent goes beyond fit and stuff like that. It's just Will Ospreay.
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? So he's good anywhere. I'm a sick fuck, so I'm rooting for TNA because the idea of, you know, helping this rebranded promotion from the ground up and being an ace and being awesome and, you know, taking their business to a new level, it just kind of pops me. Also, even though AEW,
it's the best story, you know, Punk and Ospreay leading the charge, you know. And
so that's the thing. The thing is, if we're being realistic, he's going to AEW. He linked up with Barry Bloom so that he could get as many millions of dollars out of Tony Khan's pockets, right? But
I don't know, man.
Monty. But what I was gonna say is, can you imagine Monty's talking to Barry and he's like, "Oi, you want this deal done, bro?" And he's like, "Well, we have it set, but Levesque is throwing $2 million at you, you know. So what do you want me to do with that?" But no, the point is he's gonna sign, and even though it is the most likely, I will admit it's the least funny. And as a content creator, I need the funniest outcomes to happen for everything. Yeah. Besides Cody Roman 2. Cody, that needs to just be Cody.
There's another piece to this puzzle that we haven't considered.
Right.
We got Ospreay, we got Punk, we got TNA. That's a great story.
Right.
We go to the people at Netflix.
Okay.
And we say, I'm sure you guys had fun watching Al Snow fucking fiddle around with a notepad. But guess what? We've just revived the most infamous wrestling brand in history. We've got one of the most infamous professional wrestlers in history coming on board. And also, along the way, we've signed a bloke who says bruv in every sentence. And we are telling you that we run 2 TV shows a month and there is content to be found. There are hidden gems to be uncovered. I'm telling you, we're talking new boom period, bro. I'm talking red carpet, cinematic release. Time's ahead.
I'll get into it more when we address the Punk news. But he did speak to Will last night, and I'm just imagining what their conversation sounds like, knowing how they are. Like, can you, man, bro? I just feel alive here, bro. It's just fucking free, bro. Over in Impact, bro. Oh my god, bro. Do you remember TNA, bro? And Punk just being like, yeah, they're real adults over here, you know.
Can you hear the chants again? Hear those 3 letters again? Ricocheting once more.
Oh, it's a lot to look forward to, people. In our delusions, anyway. Watches and $5. I might die slowly if Punk pulls up into the Impact Zone. Hey, man. You don't know what you're missing. Cody Wills, $1.99, appreciate it. WWE, AEW, TNA, and NWA are all going to be on TV in 2024. Wild.
Well, hold on. MLW erasure.
Chill. Hear me out, everybody. Nick Nemeth, the ace. Listen. The ace of NWA.
No. TNA, bro. TNA. Billy Laws and Nick Nemeth.
No, you lost me there, Ibu. Like, everything was right until the last 3 letters. You know?
The wrong letters. You know what? What's his nickname going to be? Like is he
the
just
natural?
The natural Nick Nemeth is here in TNA's that first episode. He's challenging Will Ospreay. He's challenging Will Ospreay. Nick Nemeth and Will Ospreay.
Fucking good times ahead, people. Darren Walker, £5, appreciate it. With no Charlie there. With no Charlie, there will be no JJ slander tonight. And what a match with Eddie Kingston on Collision.
Who's JJ? Oh, Jeff Jarrett. Oh boy.
Oh boy. Master 84189, appreciate it. What is TK's gift to Sting on Dynamite?
My bigger question is he going to be like live on camera in the ring to give this gift?
Yes.
What is happening?
Tony Khan is going. There's a segment advertised.
He has a gift
Tony
for
Khan
Sting.
Has a gift for Sting.
Okay.
Yes.
Is there any guesses about this?
I don't.
No, we're being asked to give them.
Right, but like, is there any existing ones, or is it just?
No, I see someone said TNA.
Did you? So I'm guessing.
Oh my.
You're granted one free pass to go back to TNA on your retirement.
Yeah, he's just bought in the promotion. You know.
Can we get Ospreay versus Sting in TNA?
Bro, chill.
Well, hold on.
Just calm down. Hidden Blade would change that man's life.
Can they?
He's made it this far, you know.
I didn't know about this. This has intrigued me now.
Yeah, Tony has the gift for Sting. That's the advertised name of the segment. My bigger question is also. Oh no, I already asked that. Did you guys see Dave bury this for no reason? Like he got really mad about it.
He's a beast, man. He's just every time you think Dave's lost a step, he'll lash out in a way that makes you go, "Fuck, he's still got it." The big man is still there, you know.
Joe Alvarez is talking about stuff, and Dave was like, "Do you think that Danielson and Andrade is a dream match? Because it's not a dream match." And then he was like, Tony Khan announced a dream match, announced that Rampage, and it wasn't a dream match. And he said he does this every time. He advertises announcements, and they're not as big as you think they are. And then he's doing it this week. He has a gift for Sting. He's like, why is this an announcement? And he's just like, it got all mad about it and all flustered. And he was just like, it's not going to draw. What's the point? He's like, Dave, you're right, man.
Okay, we got any guesses? Actually, we need to make.
No, I don't.
A new baseball bat or something.
Maybe
a plaque.
What if it's Bill Goldberg?
In a box.
I don't even know what's the logical answer. I have no idea to answer that. I'm sorry, I have no guess. I'm sorry.
Listen, he opens the box and it's a contract, an open contract for a Dynamite in Atlanta, GA, and it's like opposite. And he looks at the name and Sting's reading, and he's like, "Okay, the Icon Sting versus Goldberg," and you hear the pop in the crowd. And then Bill Goldberg, and you get Taz kind of overacting, like, "Oh, wow, I mean, that's a blockbuster." I'll tell you what, Excalibur, oh my God.
What's the Ruckus Goldberg theme sound like?
No. What's the tagline?
Finish the bit. What's the theme? Go.
All right, man. Let me get to these super chats wrong. Hakata Police 199. Punk versus Shelly for the TNA title. Gabe Sapolsky call. Hey man, cooking. Will Chisholm $5, appreciate it. Vince going to be calling Triple H. Why he got all these matches over 5 minutes? Where's the Miz TV? Why all these women on my show?
There's nothing he can do, Will. He's been unknighted by Ari Emanuel. I don't know if you guys
saw. You don't want to say that out loud too many times, you know.
And then I jinx it. Vince wakes up and he's like, "I'm pussy."
Sean hasn't reported the Raw lineup yet. You know, you never know. Devil could be working in the shadows, bro. Bro, $2. Ibu, I promise Ospreay versus Andrade will be funner. Oh.
Not that I don't want to see.
I'm gonna get such spiteful DMs the night that happens on Collision or some shit. It's gonna be brutal.
All you see is Joe Holbert, and you open it. Oh fuck!
Showtime Spurs $12. Announcing Andrade versus Danielson as a dream match, and then casually dropping Okada with Orange Cassidy versus Claudio and Bryan at 10:45 Eastern Time is insane. Yeah, the timing of that announcement was 10:45 Eastern, bro. You know.
Monty, I don't know if you knew this. Post Vince being unknighted, Miz's total television time on Raw, I've been informed by someone in the company who just was being spiteful to me, is 1:50.
That's how the gang goes sometimes, you know. You know, he's had a long career. He's done what he needs to do. I think it's safe to say, you know. But yeah, we've done our pitches with TNA. Anything else we want to talk about with TNA?
It's back.
It's
back, baby. You know,
let's go.
The Knockouts division. I can't wait to start standing that all over again and calling it the best division in the world and all those good things.
The thing that pops me most about this story, by far, is they have announced it and framed it as though they had the name like taken from them, or like it got lost in court. Like, we're back. We got it back. It's like, you gave it up. What are you talking about? What does that mean?
Oh my God. For those who missed it, off air, this guy Scott D'Amore is cutting a promo. And he's just like, we're TNA fucking wrestling and we're fucking back. And he's like,
it's like they won it in court or some shit, you know? Like, we got it. We're back. We got it back.
You know the actual funniest thing? Did you guys watch the announcement video?
Yes, absolutely.
It's like
I did.
19
about 5 times.
Oh, in the woods.
It was incredible.
It is so long.
It's like a TNA chest, and it opens up, and it like TNA just fills the sky.
The rosters are merging, and like Eric Young's in, and he's just like, from the journeys we walked, and fucking Josh Alexander's like, the paths we've taken, and Kazarian's like, it's all for this moment, and they're all like walking in and shit. Like, I thought like Rihanna Diamonds in the Sky was about to start playing or something. Like, I don't know what's going on. They open a chest and shit. And
poor Eddie Edwards had like dialogue to deliver in this scene, and it was just
he
come on, man.
He's just like, we're all gathered here today. I'm like, what is happening? Like, what is going on?
Eddie Edwards like, we're writing our own chapters. It's like, what? Who asked? Eric Young's like grinning the whole time, like some sort
of... his narration is the funniest every time when you hear the Eric Young voice, and it's just like stepping out of our own shadows.
He goes, you're forgetting his first line was sleep is the cousin of death. Pump my fist.
Scott D'Amore wrote this whole thing.
What a beast.
He absolutely wrote this whole thing.
We're so back.
Yeah. We need those like weirdly shot backstage cinematic segments, you know, that are like they're not like regular backstage segments, but they're not movies. They're just like shot.
They're just shot sideways.
Yeah. And it's like HD, and like it sometimes it would look like there's supposed to be allegedly security footage or whatever. You know what I mean? Remember when Hogan would be backstage with somebody and it's supposed to be covert, and he's just kind of like, I mean, tonight we're gonna do this thing with you guys, and then we'll bring in the nasties.
My favorite one with the Hogan era was that him and Bischoff shared their office, but there was only one chair, so they would just rotate, I guess, because sometimes Hulk would be in there, and other times he'd be absent, and Eric would be in there. It was incredible. Glory days, brother.
Oh my God! Just man that angle. No, fuck, we're doing this the whole hour. No, man that angle. No, not really, but man that angle, right? And then. What you bring me in this room for, bruv? What are we talking about, bruv? Listen, violent by design, I'm telling you. All right? Me, you know, you talk to Crazy Steve, we'll get you in here, all right? No, bruv, listen, bruv. Let's do this the right way, bruv, all right? And just these shitty ass, like the idea of Will Ospreay doing weekly television, but specifically weekly TNA television.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
They would have him murder someone with the hidden blade. Like they'd kill someone off with it, you know?
You meet him outside.
Yeah.
Someone signing for AEW to get murdered off or Will Ospreay. Chris
Bay turns down some offer, and that seals his fate in kayfabe and canon. You got to think about it, right? Hidden blade right from the back of the neck, right in that corner of that building. You know, and it's like we witnessed a murder on this fucking show.
So, TNA back, Hard to Kill. In January.
Yes,
January. TNA is back. You'd expect that they want to make a big bang with that Hard to Kill show. They kind of have to, with how excited I've got myself for this, you know. So, any predictions except for can we try, you know,
actual predictions?
actual predictions.
I think they're genuinely. I think Ospreay will work that show, right? Because he's not. His contract's February, right? So I think that's saying he'll try to work. I don't think he'll go to TNA, obviously, but I think he'll work that show. I think they're going to make a real effort to be the promotion that hosts the aforementioned Nick Nemeth's wrestling return. I think that will be the one they actually target and feel confident about, because you would presume that would be the place where he could get like a featured role, right? AEW can't give him a featured role at this point in the game.
He could easily be world champion in Impact.
Right. TNA. So my prediction is that they'll have a name to build around that is not CM Punk. I think Will Ospreay will work the first show, and a lot of us will watch that show because we're intrigued by the idea of the logo being back. I'm very doubtful they'll be able to maintain our interest, which honestly, I don't even really mean as a slight so much as there's just so much wrestling TV, you know? But
there is.
I think it's a move that won't really have like a massive impact, but it gives them some buzz and it gets them back in the headlines for this little stretch here. And honestly, let's be real, we do this gig here and like they're not in those headlines a lot generally. So
this is the most buzz. This is the most buzz the brand has gotten in a while, because in one weekend, right, they had a show where there was a genuinely like a match that got match of the year buzz, plus the name coming back, plus rumors of CM Punk, you know, hanging out at the tapings and stuff. That's three things in one small thing, in one news cycle, which is the most buzz TNA has gotten, frankly, since the Matt Hardy stuff. You know, unless you want to talk about the time when everybody pretended to be excited that like Impact was working with AEW, but you know, it's a big deal. I anticipate one of the WWE releases to be there. If this was 2010 TNA, the answer would be that all the releases would be there. I want one of them to be like one of the shitters that just shows up there, jacked out of his mind, and acting like he's a big shot. Like I want like Rick Boogs to walk in there or some shit, and it's just like, oh, it's Eric Bugenhagen! It's Eric Bugenhagen! What's he doing in Impact? And he just, you know, just fucking kills somebody. But yeah, man, looking forward. I'll watch the first show.
Yes, we will definitely watch that show and cover that show. Beyond that, we'll see.
I want it to be like really funny bad though, if I'm being completely frank with you.
That is tempting, yeah. Unfortunately,
I want it to be really funny.
Throwback.
I want Eric Bischoff a part of this, if I'm being completely honest.
Oh, bravo.
That would be the worst PR possible. Could you imagine? We're going back to the old TNA. Here is Eric Bischoff.
What was his TNA theme? Do you remember, Joe?
Oh, it was super generic, man. It wasn't like.
Was it just like some generic fake rock, like just like found it?
Yeah. It wasn't like one of the funny TNA, unless I'm mistaken. I remember it being pretty generic.
Monty, do you remember Hogan's TNA theme? You don't remember?
I don't think I do. No.
Okay, do you know how the NWO song goes, right? Has like wow. So Hogan's TNA theme was wow.
Oh, TNA, man. The glory days. All right. Super chats. Masfan 84 189. TNA had unprotected hair. TNA had unprotected chair shots post Benoit. Was wild. Sounds it. Cody Wills 199. Appreciate you. I'm most excited about the upgrade in production. Yeah, man. Sure. Fingers crossed. Hopefully they deliver on that front. Will Chisholm $10. Appreciate it. It's crazy how Endeavor did Vince, how he did his own dad, and Triple H got to act like he's not happy about it. He's nasty. But what's the chance they get Vince out of there? They're outright.
Outright.
Okay.
You know, it's funny.
Yeah.
McMahon Sr. said that if I knew what Vince Jr. was going to do when he bought this company, I wouldn't have sold to him because he didn't expect Vince to kill the territories. And now we have a situation where Vince clearly made this deal with Ari because it was going to get him back in the mix in some way, shape, or form. And Ari kissed his ass publicly in the lead up to this. And now he's being phased out pretty quickly. And the newest Observer report is that he's going to be like a fucking global brand ambassador jackass, which is really funny. So I'll tell you this, Monty. I talk to people in the company, and like the genuine prevailing belief is that like by like next year, he's just like a glorified figurehead who has like nothing to do, which is really funny.
It's truly unhinged that's a job he's like mad about having, you know? He's like nearly 80 and it's like, yeah, man, he has to just like sit around and make money. It's like, fuck, let me book this Gargano angle off the show, you know? Like, what's wrong with the dude, man?
The fact that like Ari's like, yeah, man, leave the creative alone.
At the end of the day, it's Vince. So
yeah,
is it really that surprising? You know,
no,
Vince
it's the least surprising thing ever.
But the idea that Joe, like in Monty, the fact that like, you know, Ari's like, leave the show alone, just go do a TED talk every couple months, you know, or go pop up at this event. And he's like, no, I want to delete people off Raw. Like, I want to fucking be able to just fucking take 5 to 10 people off this fucking show. This is crazy to me.
Darren Walker, £5, appreciate you. Wonder what Deonna Purrazzo will do when her contract's up at the end of the year.
Probably gonna get paid.
I think
do you think really?
That's what she always does. She just
I don't know, man. I think she may actually have some offers on the table. I think she may do pretty good out of that deal. We'll see.
I think Deonna Purrazzo. Where is it? One said Phil did a Joe Hall.
Well, I'm very high on Deonna Purrazzo personally, so maybe that's kind of shaping my opinion here. Yeah, but are you less keen? Is that what you're telling me?
You know, I mean, you know, she's doing her thing in Impact, and I'm happy for her. And yeah, she'll get some offers. I just think that what she tends to do is just resign with Impact. Like that's just what ends up happening.
Well, to be fair, that locker room genuinely loves being in Impact. Like we've had a lot of fun with the TNA brand here, but like genuinely, the locker room culture there, especially with the Knockouts division, is like
it's very
genuinely seems like a place where people want to be. Yeah, so
I have contact with people from Impact, and like it's funny because even when I was kind of judging the promotion and being like, it's Impact, like these people they'll be like, no man, I like it here. And I'm like, really? Look, yeah, I like it here. You know, so yeah.
Deonna Purrazzo. I was just making sure. Sean Rossap, he reported like a few weeks ago, like 4 or 6 weeks ago, that Purrazzo set to be a free agent after December 31st, and that her and Impact have not had extension talks. So
yeah, I think she's moving on personally.
I think she is as well.
She's a natural fit in AEW to me, and I say that while conceding, if you're a fan of hers, why you may be like, please no, I get it, but like just looking at it from a distance there, I think it's a natural fit. Could refresh some things as well in the division in terms of because a lot of the names now are going in cycles, right? I feel like they've advertised Ruby versus Sky approximately 18 times. It may have happened twice, but it feels like it's happened every week. So
I don't have anything against Sky Blue, but I feel like
she's on a lot.
I feel like AEW gives me a lot of her. You know?
Honestly, though, it's nice to see more consistency in terms of TV usage because for a while, the way that he would rotate was even worse than it is now, right? Because you'd see someone once every 2 months, right? So
yeah, for sure.
All right, TNA Impact kind of sticking on this. CM Punk was at the tapings yesterday, the day after Bound for Glory. I think it was yesterday or Saturday. When was Bound for Glory? Friday or Saturday? Saturday, wasn't it?
Saturday.
Yeah, so Saturday. So he was at the tapings yesterday. So CM Punk was at the Impact tapings yesterday. He was around backstage, talking to talent, all that kind of stuff. Seems like he was just kind of chilling out and just talking to the big wrestlers that wanted to talk to him and stuff like that. Yeah, of course, this has got a lot of traction over the past few hours because you see CM Punk Impact Wrestling there in the flesh. You know, people get excited. People get excited. People make jokes. People get disappointed. A whole range of emotions. Seeing CM Punk and Impact Wrestling in the same headline. But yeah, Ibu, I think you did a tweet earlier saying you've got a couple little things you want to add. So yeah, Punk, Impact. Ibu, what you got for us?
Yeah, just made the tweet right now because I got to be a carny about these things, you know.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, so CM Punk was at Impact last night. He hung around for a little bit. He didn't stay all the way too long with everybody because, according to the word from the Punk camp is that he had to go back to Larry, and that was the genuine excuse or thing that he told people was I got to get back to Larry, and he left. Apparently, he was just backstage talking to people. Among the names that were cited to me as people that he just wanted to speak to and did speak to were Will Ospreay, Josh Alexander, Frankie Kazarian. Those are the top three. So yeah, he was reminiscing and shooting the shit with Frankie. He was talking with those other two guys, and he was just generally hanging out. He's in the area. It's not far from him. He's been there backstage before. The word is like he gets treated really well at Impact. When he shows up at Impact, like they're super nice to him. They cater to him. They tell jokes, all that type of stuff. He plays games. He plays board games with the roster members. He plays board. He plays
what games?
He was playing Connect 4 with Jordan Grace at the previous round of tapings that he appeared at. So yeah, they have games back there, and he just kind of plays the games.
What a lovely locker room, eh?
I don't know. I may have gone off this TNA thing.
With drugs and guns.
I'm just fucking around. Carry on.
Yeah, he was just kicking it with people, and he was just an open book. People were just walking up and like, "Hey, Phil," and just talking to him, and he would just give them the time of day, and just hung out. They really want him to sign. Like they really want him to sign. They made it very clear every 2 seconds of like, nudge, nudge, like jokey joke. You're coming, right? Like that kind of deal. And a lot of that. And he obviously was non-committal to the highest degree when it came to that whole thing. His whole vibe was just like, I'm just chilling. What's up?
What have Impact actually said as far as that goes? Because we was all popping in the group chat and stuff when Cultaholic took one of your tweets and we're like, CM Punk's been offered a contract by Impact Wrestling, and I guess just to kind of clear it up or anything as far as what you've heard or anything like that regarding like what Impact have actually tried to offer or talk to Punk about. Yeah,
he was offered to appear at Bound for Glory. They wanted him to be at Bound for Glory. They sent him, they mailed it to him or whatever, and there was a money offer there to just show up and be at Bound for Glory. And I'll tell you this though, he didn't like people when they heard about this, it was kind of like, oh, it's Impact, like who gives blah blah blah. He didn't like turn his nose up at it. He didn't like scoff at it or go like Impact, whatever. Like he didn't take it. But he didn't just kind of do the jerk off motion and just throw it in the garbage.
Respectfully decline.
Well, his whole thing, according to people from his camp, is just that look, they treat him really well, and so he respects that, and he appreciates that, and he does genuinely appreciate that they want his services, and so he's just kind of like, oh, that's nice. They offered me to be at Bound for Glory. I'm not gonna take it, but that's nice, and so yeah, and then he stopped by the next day. He also wasn't going to do it because he was going to be at the Blackhawks home opener. And the word from the Punk camp is hockey over wrestling. So,
right. Sport is life, But yeah, Punk, Impact. It's is there any point in us sort of speculating about do we think he's gonna go, lads? I don't.
It's just Punk's he's in the news again, he's in the headlines again, and that's I think the goal more than forecasting this big run he's gonna have for TNA. To be honest,
there were people backstage at the Impact thing who were 100% going like, so you going to Survivor Series, brother, or like what's going on with that? And he's just kind of like, hey man, who knows what happens with anything, like who knows? So he wasn't giving anybody anything on what he was going to do in any direction.
Probably a good idea.
Yeah.
Kayfabe, brother.
Kayfabe to everybody. Yeah.
Leon Slater knows.
Played some Connect 4.
Will Ospreay, we've already kind of touched on this open, but we haven't talked about. We spoke about Barry Bloom, of course. You know, he's going to be negotiating for him and getting him as much money as possible. But yeah, see, apparently, well, not apparently, he's straight up said in an interview with the Metro that he's open to all options. He's open to WWE. He's now open to moving to the US. You know, he's got the super agent. It seems like he really is like he's just going to get the best deal absolutely possible. You know, he's doing all the right things. You know, he's even saying like, I'm open to Impact, I'm open to WWE. Of course, it goes without saying he's open to AEW. New Japan, I'm sure, will always be an option for him. So, you know, that could potentially be like, what's that, 4 different offers that he gets, you know? And when you're a free agent, that's what you want because, you know, demand is only going to raise your price, etc., etc. You'll see who really wants to pay out for you, and you get the best options to pick from. So, Will Ospreay, open to WWE, open to moving to the US, new agent. Yeah, we've already said. I'll agree with you earlier. I think he'll be successful any promotion that he goes to. But yeah, I don't think it's nailed on that he ends up in AEW.
Really?
Yeah, because
and I assume you mean WWE in that regard, right? I don't think you're actually doing the TNA bit, are you?
Probably not. Probably not TNA. I don't know. There's obviously a reason why he's been at New Japan for as long as he has been. You know. Then obviously the WWE thing. Who knows if WWE wants to throw millions of dollars at him? I don't think you can ever write that off. You know.
For sure.
And I think obviously the Barry Bloom thing, although he's also the agent for like Kenny Omega, Young Bucks and stuff, people have assumed that that's him going closer to AEW. I don't think that's the case at all. You know,
it just means he wants to maximize his value, which he should. Yeah.
So like when you're taking that approach, WWE do tend, on the higher end, if they decide that if they're adamant and decide that we want Ospreay and we're going to make him, the next Seth Rollins, or you know what I mean, like in terms of the WWE universe,
I don't know if it's a bidding more that Tony would let himself lose because of the investment they've already made in Ospreay.
I agree, actually.
I think it may come out of this with an amount of money that we can't even fathom right now. Because I think this is the name.
That's what I want for him, man. I'm happy wherever he goes.
Absolutely. From the AEW perspective, he is like, not only is he the perfect guy to bring in, you've already invested, right? You've done the thing at Wembley. Like, he's ready-made a main event. Like, he could be the world champion for them within months, right? And it just feels to me like, even if WWE really wanted him, I think his value to AEW is greater because I just think he's such a natural fit. In addition, I don't know if Will would want to ever close the door on New Japan. I think he loves working there. And AEW allows him a chance to still work big matches there, right? To work the Tokyo Dome show, whatever it may be. So it's such a natural fit. I think it's what will ultimately come to fruition. But look, your point is not wrong in saying that when it comes down to a bidding war, you should never just write off WWE, right? If they want someone, they're going to make a serious play. So it's a fair point, but I'm pretty convinced that Ospreay will be an AEW guy. Even if it's a weird, I've mentioned
they'll
before,
always be the favourites. Unless something like breaking comes out about what's going on with him. But AEW, of course, will always be the favourite. I just, like I said, I don't think it's nailed on.
When these headlines came out, Monty, many of which were aggregated by yourself, there were members of the AEW roster sending me your tweets back at me to just give their opinions. And the prevailing sentiment from every single one of these individuals that I spoke to, that I didn't even ask for this, they just came to me to tell me this, is just that, Tony's going to give this guy a lot of fucking money.
Yeah.
And here, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen, Monty. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. Paul Levesque is going to express to Nick Khan that this guy is big time. And I just want him. I want him because AEW has the inside track on signing him, and I would like to have him, and this would be seen as a win. And once he sells Nick Khan on the idea of this is a win on AEW, Nick Khan is going to reach out to Will Ospreay's representation, and they're going to have a conversation with him, potentially in person, right? This may be...
Here's this.
Here's the thing. So I was going to tell you, Nick Khan is going to be very charismatic, and he's going to convince Will that this is not a bad move for him. Will's going to be like, wait a fucking minute. Then Tony Khan, like you said, is going to hear about this and go absolutely, positively fucking not. And he is going to up his offer to a level that maybe he probably shouldn't even be doing. But at this point, it's now a battle of pride again. It's not even a battle of anything else. It's just we have to secure him and we have to land him. And so, like Joe said at the very beginning here, he's going to walk away like a bandit. He's going to walk away with so much fucking money he doesn't know what to do with. And more than a guy who's never been a TV wrestler in the States maybe has ever made. Right. So, yeah, I think ultimately because of this, because WWE will apply pressure and then make a shot at this, but I think it's just going to make Tony kind of black out, to be honest with you, and almost irresponsibly, just do what he needs to do to secure him. And ultimately, I do think they will secure him because I think Will's heart is in the idea of being signed to AEW, doing dates there, doing some New Japan and maybe some other stuff and that kind of thing. That's where Will's heart is at. But at the end of the day, it is a business, and so you have to consider everything. But yeah,
and he's noticeably adjusted the way he talks about this topic, right? It was not long ago that we were doing shows and Will was always putting himself in a corner as to what he wants from this next deal. He's adjusted smartly and is now opened up his options because that's the best way to maximize your value. But that doesn't change where we personally kind of think he's leaning. So time will tell. Be very interesting.
Will Chisholm, $4. Appreciate you as always.
Sorry.
Vince sold WWE so he can be the booker again. That's crazy to me. I mean, he killed NXT because AEW beat them, and now DX run WWE. Well, shout out DX, you know. Sean doing his damn thing.
Is he doing his damn thing?
Sean, you know, people are fucking with it, bro. People are fucking with it, man.
It really is funny that like
they're doing like 800K now, you know.
Yeah, no, it's very successful. It's very successful this year. I was gonna say it's funny to me, Monty. Like, yeah, it's funny. I keep up with the WWE programming, but like when I read like the tweets from their specific like WWE only fan base from like the big accounts, I don't agree with anything they say about anything. It's so funny. Like I just read the stuff, see guys going, "Oh man, NXT's the best WWE show of the week." I'm like, no, it's not. If you're like, "Oh man, SmackDown is like better than Raw," I'm like,
this is two complete ends of the scale there. One guy says, "I wonder if Ospreay gets 8 figures." I mean,
no, he won't get 8.
Chill out. And this person says they shouldn't go over 1 mil. Like, if two complete opposite ends of the scale.
The game I love right there.
I'm gonna put it to you like this: if Tony doesn't give him over $1 million, Will Ospreay will be at WrestleMania.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it will be in between those two opposite ends of the scale, quite comfortably in between. If Will Ospreay gets 8 figures, they should knight him over here, bro. If it's a pro wrestling manages that, respect for real.
He's gonna make money close to AJ Styles' current deal, which is
which is not 8 figures, fair to say.
Oh baby, look who's joined us.
Oh boy, fuck.
Don't worry, I'm only here for a bit. I have my friends waiting for me inside the Wingstop place right here. So,
Puppies keeping people waiting to call into a wrestling podcast. Manny, what's up? What's the burning agenda that you want to talk about the most? Whilst you've got a few minutes.
You talk about that karate motherfucker and Ospreay do the Matrix shit.
We have
a good match, man.
Manny was not. He was not enthralled by this match, man.
Bro. Last night, like within minutes of each other, Ibu messaged me like, "Bro, I went 4-5 on Speedball versus Ospreay." Minutes after Manny, Ospreay versus Speedball, I gave it 3.5, bro. So what? What's happening?
Who did you believe more in the moment after back to back?
I'm not convinced Manny watched this match. I'm really not. I'm not convinced at all.
I watched some of it.
There we go. Some of it. There we go.
He saw clips on the WrestlePurists Twitter account. No. Make sure you go follow at WrestlePurists.
No. I watched some of it, and I can't. Same thing happened with Kenny and Fletcher.
Why are you sending in ratings to the WrestlePurists spreadsheet when you didn't watch?
Okay, hold on. We need to say this before you go, Manny. So when you fill in the ratings, if you didn't see the match, you just take the match off the message, right? So Manny did that for every match he didn't watch other than one. Kyle Fletcher versus Kenny Omega, which instead of taking it off, he just put NA to make a point of the fact that he would not be rating this match, which was an incredible bit.
He's you can be quite spiteful with those things, man.
Very,
yeah.
You know, something crazy also happened to me today at work.
What happened, man?
I had a knife in my pocket shirt right here, and I thought I almost cut my nipple off earlier, bro. I was picking up a tire. I didn't realize the blade was open. Picked it up. I felt like my whole chest become wet out of nowhere. I said, in my head, I was thinking two things could have happened here. Because I was screeching in my head. I was like,
you thought you got shot.
Yeah, my nipple could be gone. Or I just tore a pec. And then I still haven't checked if my chest stopped hurting a while back. So
Wait,
I haven't.
Hold up, you haven't checked? What are you talking about? You haven't checked?
I haven't checked. I'm scared to look.
Wow.
So you've just been walking around with a bloody shirt all day.
Who knows? I don't know.
Your chest was okay.
Whatever, bro. Probably my chest was bleeding. I haven't checked it.
I have no further questions. So.
What is going on?
I don't know, man. He's busted wide open, and he came on a wrestling podcast.
Oh man, Manny, you fired up to see Punk and Ospreay in TNA?
When pigs can fly, I'll believe that shit, man. I mean, I'm like Monty. I got to see this happen. There's literally no way I can't even fathom what is Ospreay gonna do? Wrestle Josh Alexander a whole bunch of times? Like, come on. Bro, I don't want to see him wrestle that fake angle, bro. I don't even know who else is on that show. Like,
he's a good wrestler, man.
Who else is in Impact? Black Taurus? Fuck, man, I don't know. I don't even. Tommy, he's gonna wrestle Tommy Dream. I mean, come on, how many times do you want to see him wrestle Speedball? Come on.
Oh
man, he's gonna wrestle Bully. So was it they go back to TNA, bro? I mean, that's awesome and everything, but they don't even bring back the 6-sided ring. Like, what kind of bullshit is that?
That was disappointing when I heard that they were.
You wanted the 6 ring. You wanted the 6 sides back.
Absolutely. If you're gonna be called TNA, bring out the fucking 6-sided ring.
What's the point of going halfway in? I mean, shit. I mean.
No, I'm with you there, Manny. I wanted some six-sided action. Allegedly, it's not happening because the talents say that 6 sides is tough on your body. So that's kind of the deal there.
That's like being like an average NBA team, bro. You're like down the middle. Like, come on, go for it. What do you have left to lose? You're already TNA.
I hear you, Manny. I hear you.
Let's talk about the weekend.
Please. Fucking hell.
All right, AEW. Let's start with Rocky Romero versus Mystico. And, we knew this was going to be a treat when it got announced, you know. Big CMLL partnership was announced, then this was probably like the perfect match to kick it off, you know. Rocky's been on AEW a few times. Mystico, his first time, but of course, big star in Mexico. There was some late ticket movement when people found out that he was there, etc., etc. People were excited and fired up to see Mystico, and they delivered, didn't they, Joe Hulbert?
They did, mate. This was a real treat, as you said, and you know, structurally, really a very, very simple match, right? The first 4 was Mystico's shine, the second 4 was Romero's heat, and the third they had their finishing stretch and went back and forth and got a little bit more expansive. But really, they colored inside the lines on this one. But because of the quality of the work and the placement of those pieces and just kind of the general timing, it really came together nicely. It certainly took some adjusting to, watching a match that was striving to be an authentic CMLL presentation on Rampage. It definitely took like a slight, you had to adjust accordingly. Each time I've watched the match, I've enjoyed it more. Not to overstate or say it was just like classic or, match of the year considering everything. But man, really smooth start to the kind of emerging partnership, and tremendous piece of TV wrestling for Rampage. And to me, a glance at something that I wish we'd see more of on Rampage. Rampage in particular, I think is perfect for getting a little bit wild with these things. This is an extreme example, but generally, the International Showcase, I'm a big fan.
Yeah, definitely. Rocky Romero, smooth like butter, brother. Mystico, of course, was very impressive. Ibu, big Mystico fan.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of what CMLL has been doing this entire year. This match was this is exactly what they would have done in Arena Mexico on a Super Viernes main event, which is their weekly television show. And I'm just a fan of these guys. Mystico has been surpassed athletically by many luchadors multiple times over the last decade, but it kind of doesn't matter because his appeal is not, the spectacularness of his moves. It's just his ability to work like a star, quite frankly. And what we learned was this can be translated, because at the end of the day, wrestling is a game of fundamentals, and if you really get wrestling, you can do it anywhere and get over. He knows when to do what, and he gets the most out of it. He maximizes the stuff he does. The big Spanish fly and the tope and the rana that he does at the top rope, stuff like that. He times it and structures his matches where it happens at big moments. And to me, it's actually very, it's similar to like Hiroshi Tanahashi, I guess, is my comparison personally. And both guys have time as babyface aces. Mystico is still the ace of CMLL. But yeah, man, Rocky Romero, I mean, as you guys all said, like he's just awesome. And Mystico's a great babyface. So I thought this was a treat. And to Joe's point, because Rampage just does what it does from a rating standpoint, it should be the playground where you can kind of do these types of different and quirky things. Because at the very least, it's then a destination show for a part of your base that would get really into these kinds of things. It doesn't have to be completely throwaway, like just stuff that doesn't need to be. Like it doesn't have to turn into like AEW Dark Elevation. You can do like a weirder match on this that like maybe wouldn't work for Dynamite, but like would be cool on here. So I appreciate.
It's got time here too, right? They said like 20 minutes. So
yeah, as it should,
absolutely,
as it should. So I really appreciate this. Honestly, this is my favorite AEW match of the week on television.
Nice. Probably same. Probably, maybe, really? Potentially. It's on par anyway. Manny, did you manage to catch this one?
Of course I did. I had to watch Mystico live. My family went out and they were asking if I want to go out with them. I said, no, I got to watch Mystico. I think he was going to be on Rampage. So I watched it, It felt like Arena Mexico, man. He got everybody to chant Mystico for him, There's only a few wrestlers that can do that in the world. And, it's Rey Mysterio, Mystico, and Bryan Danielson. He's just able to get the crowd to feel and get behind him. And this is the first time he was on AEW TV, which was incredible. And I hope we get to see him more because, this guy is just a legend. And I know he was in WWE for a bit. And it's just not the same vibe. This is just Mystico. So, and I hope AEW messes with that 2 out of 3 falls more because that was awesome. That was cool to see.
Yeah, man, it was good stuff.
All right, I gotta go, guys.
Beautiful.
Good, man.
Peace, man. Appreciate you as always.
Shout out Mystico. Shout out Giannis. Let's go Spurs. Wemby, Rookie of the Year. Goodbye.
Peace. All right. Elsewhere of AEW over the weekend on Collision, we had Bryan Danielson versus Andrade, which Tony Khan described as a dream match, which is usually reserved for matches that we've never seen before. That's usually kind of the idea. It's not just a great match. It's a match that, you'd never seen before or maybe thought you'd never be able to see. That's a dream match. So when it was announced that it would be, Dragon versus Andrade, it's not so much no one was turning the nose up at the idea that this wasn't a good enough match. It was just like it wasn't quite as advertised, But nonetheless, a really, really good match, which shocked absolutely nobody, What did you guys think?
Oh, this was tremendous. This is my match of the week for AEW personally. You're right. It doesn't really fit the description of dream match, considering the ones that AEW has regularly produced. But honestly, Andrade has had so few like big time matches in AEW that I'm fine with it. Whatever it takes, whatever we need to brand it. I know. Whatever we need to brand it to get the match, I'm cool with. This match was just gorgeous, man. The opening sequence, they worked the babyface opening where they were mat wrestling and reaching stalemate. And Dragon was like subtly targeting the left arm, the injured arm, but not in a way that made him less of a babyface. Because you wouldn't even notice unless you were watching closely. And Andrade started turning southpaw and wearing it a certain way. Then one chop goes on a rough lockup, and all of a sudden it's a firefight, and Brian then can get a little bit spiteful with his work on the arm. So just a wonderful match. Clearly the TV cut of what they can do. Like they were still, holding back a little bit, but they had around 20 minutes. And man, I thought this was wonderful. Again, not in the top tier of Dragon matches for 2023 by any means, but a really good time to kick off Collision. This was my favorite for AEW this week, I think.
Yeah, really good outing. Really, really good outing. But of course, not surprising, is it, either?
No. The beginning exchanges kind of remind me, funny enough, of Kurt Angle versus someone at WrestleMania 17, where they would kind of just do what they were doing, and then they'd kind of break away and stare at each other like, "Oh, you're pretty fucking good," And they did that a couple times, and I had a good time with this. I'm a big Andrade fan. So I always enjoy him against the best wrestlers in AEW, and he always shows out and does good stuff. So I appreciated this match, and I thought this was absolutely like the reason to tune in to Collision, because this was great. And if nothing else, Collision's one of its appeals at the moment is that it's the home of Bryan Danielson. If you want to get your Bryan Danielson match, he's on Collision to do that. And so, it works for me because I'm never going to turn down a Danielson match, and so because of that, I can never just ignore an episode of Collision.
Yeah, man, it's a good point. Bryan Danielson definitely is one of the strong selling points of Collision, especially after Punk leaving, and I'm sure that was by design. It's Dragon, man. Like you get what you expect from him, which is always great because it's what he does. After the Andrade match, though, he was, the lights went off. The lights went off. No one knew what was happening. And lights come back on. Malachi Black is there. Black Mass. And, Malachi Black, he's back. He's knocked out Bryan Danielson. House of Black kind of took over the show. They appeared for like 3 or 4 separate times at the end of matches, getting into brawls, jumping people. Of course, it seems like Malachi Black has got his eyes on Bryan Danielson, which will be a great singles feud. I know a lot of people have been waiting for that with Malachi. So, man, big show for House of Black on Collision this past Saturday, Joe.
It was. I'm not totally sure how I feel about that either. I was definitely into the idea of a just Malachi Bryan Danielson thing. When it became and I think we'll get that match, don't get me wrong, but when it became a bigger arc about like House of Black taking over the show, I don't know, because I'm aware that like next week we're going to get like a 3-minute vignette in which Malachi explains why he had to attack all these people. And the House of Black act is, very much a thing that to me is still better in theory than in actual execution. And so I don't get super fired up for these things, but nonetheless, once they get inside the ropes, I'm sure it'll be a good time, because it usually is, right? It generally is. Ibu and I were talking, and Ibu, you can take this away because this is something you were talking about even more, more passionate about than I. But the babyface heel dynamic is slightly odd because the heels get cheered, and the babyfaces are kind of in a weird grey area in some regard. Ibu, take it away on that, Frank. I think it's a worthwhile topic just for a moment.
Okay.
You don't have to. I just,
the House of Black don't get any heat because people like them. And
yeah,
when they appear, they get cheered. Julia Hart is wildly over, but they're positioned as heels and they corrupt people. Right? Sky Blue is in the middle of her transformation into the darkness, as they say. They're trying to transition Willow, or they're attempting to. And again, they're positioned with the heels on the show, and they are attacking people. But they're cheered because people think they're cool. Ricky Starks and Big Bill are positioned as heels. But even dating back to when he was turned heel in the Punk era of Collision, the crowd likes Ricky Starks. The Blackpool Combat Club are positioned as baby faces. But Wheeler Yuta has smartly filled into the role of being a little shit all year. And so it's hard to kind of sympathize with him or empathize with him or cheer for him. And we've seen that in the match in the main event. And right now, it's just kind of tough. Bryan Danielson can be a babyface because it's Bryan Danielson, but it's just kind of tough overall. Moxley is, even though he gets cheered, he's portrayed as like a bully and like a gatekeeper. But he's supposed to be a babyface in this, even though later on in Battle of the Belts, he's like fighting with Orange Cassidy and they're reigniting that thing. So across the board, this is very muddied, and it's kind of tough to like figure out. Like, even though they have made you the alignments, they told you they're like, no, the babyface side is BCC and FTR, and the heel side is Ricky and Big Bill and House of Black. That's their answer. But me as a viewer, I'm seeing all these things and how it kind of skews things a bit. And so it's not a clean, like, these are the white meat baby faces that I can root against the bad guys for versus the bad guys. And because of it, it's kind of hard to get into, to be honest with you. And I think that applies to the crowd too, because when a lot of the brawling happened at the end of the show, there was no reaction until John Moxley made his return. So
right. And you're going to have to adjust the matches because of that, because the main event of Collision, which was clearly given more time than it needed, they tried to work a traditional tag and get heat on Yuta to build a Claudio's hot tag. And when Claudio's hot tag arrived, they were okay because his hot tag is so good, it goes past babyface, heel, and anything in between.
Mm-hmm.
But when they were getting heat on Yuta, the people, like Ricky had to do crowd work to keep the people on board cheering him because they don't want to root Yuta up, right? Because he's been a dick all year. You know, it's not a reflection of him as a talent, it's a reflection of his presentation. So it was a little bit messy in that regard. But hopefully they have a more kind of fluid match once they get to it and they don't work something so rigid in that way, because I don't think that's going to work with these crowds.
Speaking of a little bit messy,
Eddie
Kingston, Jeff Jarrett, Memphis Street Fight, concession stand brawl, whatever you want to call it. This is kind of all over the place. Eddie Kingston 1-on-5 for a majority of this. It was kind of him just going back and forth, fighting them all off successfully for a large part of it, but in the end, too much for him. Jeff Jarrett pins Eddie Kingston on AEW Collision. Outrageous, I know. And now Jay Lethal has a world title shot at Eddie's ROH title. So, we'll get to the promo a little bit. But like, the match was... I'm interested to see where you're at with it, John.
So I sense this will be controversial as I caught up on it. I'm here to announce that my official stance on the matter is that it ruled. I will not be taking questions at this time. I was having a really good time with this. I've got to be honest. Dave Brown, kind of just being like put on the end.
That was one of my favorite parts. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, look, I wouldn't describe it as good, but I have to be honest. I thought it was really fun TV, and I enjoyed seeing Eddie in this environment. And the people always get behind him. Do I love Jeff Jarrett being him? No, absolutely not. And I feel like that was, as soon as I saw that was the step, I was like, oh my God, Jarrett's going to beat him, which sucks. But even that part of it to me was assisted by Eddie's promo afterwards. So I actually was kind of embarrassingly all in on all of this. I will wear that as a badge of honor, I guess. So yeah, I like this a lot, even though I concede it was, ridiculous.
I think that like we got flashes of ingredients that would make a good Jeff Jarrett Eddie Kingston match. But like it was in and out because it started out as like a food fight, which was just kind of like, all right, like I guess they're like squirting ketchup and mustard at each other. When they took it to the ring and it's mainly just Jarrett being like vicious and Eddie selling, that stuff is great because Jarrett can work and Eddie Kingston's like as old school as can be. We see the puro side of Eddie Kingston's influences, but Eddie Kingston's a big fan of the territory wrestling and he's seen his Memphis brawls in the day and all that type of stuff. So we saw that side of Eddie Kingston come out when he's in the figure four selling it and stuff like that. That's all good shit. And so I enjoyed that part of the match. And then we got kind of like the horseshit at the end with all the guys interfering and stuff. And I mean, it kind of just turns into an angle more so than a match. And so I don't know what to say about the total package really, but what I can say is that I've seen enough evidence to know that these guys, Kingston and Jarrett, that is, they would have like a hell of a cage match, I think, with everybody on the outside. I think them just in a cage, using the surroundings, bleeding and punching and chopping each other would actually be kind of a great time, to be honest. For what this was, with Eddie getting jumped by like 90 people and losing, mixed bag, just some wrestling horse shit that wasn't ever boring. And I love Eddie Kingston. And I get my fair share of chuckles from Jeff Jarrett, but it kind of was what it was.
Mm-hmm. What else did we have on Collision? Of course, the Eddie Kingston promo that you just mentioned. A lot of people talking about that. Of course, it's Eddie Kingston being Eddie Kingston. He's probably the best way to put it, to be honest. He can just sell a match. He knows how to do it. A real promo that sells the match.
Even a match you're actively not interested in, Eddie cuts his promo. I guess, Ed, I'll come along for the ride. Like fine, you got me.
Yeah. He has an uncanny knack for that. He's able to add life or death stakes to matches that you would never think would have those types of stakes.
Absolutely.
And it's because he takes it that serious. He gets himself into it, and then you get into it because he's into it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's good. It's Eddie. That's what he does. What else do we have over the weekend? SmackDown. What do we have from SmackDown? Bianca Belair returned after the main event. Charlotte Flair versus Io Sky. I thought it was a good main event, man. Obviously with Charlotte Flair, you never know what you're going to get on TV, But with this, I thought, SmackDown main event, world title match. She might be quite inspired. She might turn it on, and I thought she did. She wasn't quite stadium Charlotte Flair, but we got a good match out of this one. Did either of you guys catch it?
Yeah. I thought personally, I was not nearly as high on this as some of the the WWE fans were. But what I will say is that Charlotte did actually look a little more locked in than she normally does on television, to be honest with you. And I'd go as far as to say I thought she was actually even though Io was good, I thought she was the better half of this. I thought when she did the Boston Crab and some of the stuff at the very end, I was like, all right, Charlotte, all right, you let your game tonight. I feel like they usually, even though I'm not a big freak for just give it more time, I think a fleshed out version of the Bones that we got here would honestly be a pretty nice little match, honestly. Like a more fleshed out closing stretch of some of the stuff that they're doing, would be pretty good. What we got was honestly solid for what it was, and Bianca's back, so who can complain about that? Bianca's a queen, and she's one of the best American women's wrestlers out there.
Yeah, they kind of they could have easily kind of gone out there and just kind of had a match, but they did try and get creative with it at certain points and stuff like that. So I did appreciate it. Joe, did you catch it?
I did, man, and I do agree with the assessment that Charlotte was more. She seems to be more motivated and more kind of inspired to put in a main event effort. I still didn't love the match, but I do think to Ibu's point, because of the time they had or didn't have, I guess in this case, they were kind of forced to do they very quickly went into some back and forth, which is cool. And honestly, the back and forth was executed better, interesting enough than what we saw with Asuka a couple of weeks ago. With that match, we talked about how the structure and pace was more our deal. This one was more on the actual content itself, because beyond that, they kind of had to rush a lot of ideas in here, which is a shame because I think we'd all like to see them get a chance to have that pay-per-view match that goes 20 minutes, right? Those pay-per-views are often short, I think, or kind of slim on content like that. So, decent match. I think they have a better one in them, but I agree that Charlotte had a better performance than we've seen as of late on TV, for sure.
A bit more lively, But Io retained. There was a few people a bit worried that may have not been the case, but we got Bianca Belair back, and it's always great to see Bianca. She wasn't actually gone that long, but still, it's always great to see Bianca Belair. LA Knight cooked Paul Heyman, brother. He had a really successful segment. The crowd absolutely loved it and ate up every word he was saying. Twitter loved it. The Fed stands loved it. I loved it.
Here's the thing about it. People always talk about The Rock, right? And how he's like The Rock. He was full Austin here because he was just he was all up in Heyman's grill and he's like, "Shut up." Yeah, say it again. What? Shut up. And he's kind of doing that thing where he did the Steve Austin thing where he would tell Heyman to do something and then like stop him from doing it. Like he'd be like, "Get out of the ring. Why are you leaving? Shut up. I didn't talk to you." What? Yeah. And then like he's confusing him and shit. It was full Steve. Yeah, man, the guy's a star. You know, good for him. He's in the middle of his babyface ace run right now, which is just a funny thing to fathom. You know, like LA Knight's a big shot walking in every SmackDown like some fucking big deal. It's just kind of funny to me. But yeah.
Heyman was great in this as well. You know, he just went along with whatever fucking LA Knight was throwing at him, and he's pulling all the faces, and he's just making himself look like a complete dork, you know. And he's just making LA Knight look fucking awesome, you know. So
one thing I would say is like genuinely beyond the catchphrase and the kind of glossy, you know, ridiculousness of LA Knight, which we appreciate, but he is, you know, that's part of the package, right? He is ridiculous. Look at him out there. I will say I do appreciate that generally in these promos, at some point or another, he locks in on actually getting back to that point you made earlier, Monty, selling the match and getting over, more importantly, the idea of he actually intends to win these professional wrestling matches, which, folks, that may sound like a dumb comment. Next time you watch a wrestling TV show, note how many of the promos say everything but the actual intention of winning the match and what that will mean for their careers. LA Knight does a good job of locking on that, and it stands out once you get beyond the kind of 101 catchphrases that he throws your way, you know. So yeah, I liked it.
You know, what's my big takeaway of SmackDown, though, Monty, for all these little trinkets and nuggets and moments that we're talking about.
I was gonna get to it, but go on. Yeah. I know where you're going.
Get right to it, folks. Jimmy Uso attacked. Jay Uso. Fuck, wrong Uso. Jay Uso crashes SmackDown. He's a Raw superstar. And he attacks Jimmy Uso in retaliation because Jimmy Uso crashed Monday Night Raw and attacked Jay. And when I watched Raw, and I had a good time with the show, my thought was like, all right, if in this Paul Levesque era, if I'm supposed to take this more serious now, if I'm supposed to now consume this as an adult and actually think about what I'm consuming, I have to hold it to a higher standard. Meaning, this brand split, right? You have these general managers. There should be consequences for things. Why should I take the whole Sammy Sad KO's Gone story beat seriously if in theory these guys can just run anywhere they want? Like one of my thoughts, Joe, when I was watching Raw was Sammy's all depressed about this, but can't KO just theoretically show up and just fucking do what he does anyway? And what we found out, folks, on Friday was no, you can't, because in Nick Aldis' SmackDown, you will be fined and escorted from the building when you
$10,000.
I thought this was in about 90 seconds. So beautiful, so effective, and it soothed the pedantic side of me, you know, because this is really bothering me, guys. It's really bothering me. I'm like, bro, I don't want to see Sammy fucking moping around at KO's Gone. If KO could just fucking run in the building and just crash the match like all these motherfuckers do. But retroactively, they have now basically framed Adam Pearce as a feckless, weak leader who doesn't enforce rules, because you can go, oh, they broke the rules before because Adam Pearce wouldn't fucking punish people. But now when Nick Aldis is SmackDown, that's not going to fly, and it won't fly. And so it was established Jay Uso got fined. He cannot appear on this show. Get the fuck out of the building. And then he went right to Pearce's face, and Pearce was like, you're not going to kick me out too, are you? And he said, no, I am. Get out of the building. And then, you know, Pearce said, all right, let the games begin. And so it established that these brands are separate. It established that they're going to be contentious, and we're gonna lay the law down. And so what I say to you, Joe, is this: there's a negative connotation to authority figures in wrestling shows, and I think it's because for years WWE has just overused the trope. They've taken up TV for frankly a lot of bad TV, right?
Man, they didn't find Nick Aldis shit. You know, that's the real kit.
But the thing is, there's been authority figures on wrestling broadcasts of some kind dating back to the 1970s. I think that there's an effective way to use them to just communicate the kayfabe rules in your established universe. We've seen it in fucking Memphis wrestling. Bro, they'll have a fucking kayfabe board of whatever the fuck.
Yeah, of course. It's been...
It's just, there should be fines for transgressions, suspensions. You should be punished when you hit referees. You should be punished when you crash matches. You should be punished for disqualifications. If a Raw superstar shows up on SmackDown, get the fuck out of there. You know, when there's no rules and you can just do anything, then what the fuck am I watching? It's a lawless land. Why can't any wrestler just interfere and get away with it then? If you don't do it, then you're an idiot. You know, so I'm big on rules in wrestling. It's why I like pure rules, or I like it when it's done well. And it's why I like this little segment here on SmackDown. It made the whole thing worth it.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure. Yeah, go
you
for
too,
it.
Money. You know when Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis went face to face, did the ground underneath you shake like it did when
Did you
I was
not see the
watching it?
picture that I tweeted?
I'm not sure, but like when I was watching it, my house went like rock. You know, because the excitement and the energy.
I tweeted the face to face, then quote tweeted it with a picture of Flair and Dusty.
I saw it. My one was I tweeted the picture with time stands still.
It honestly fucking
this is what happens when you have former NWA world champions as your managers.
They're going to wrestle at Mania, bro. I've already told you this. They're going to go an hour in the middle of the show. Everyone's going to just leave.
I kind of need this. I can't lie to you, man. I kind of need this.
That match would be like in their prime. They would have the most like 2 1/4, 2 3/4 that range. You know, it would fucking rule.
But ironically, Joe, because now they're on Fed television, where they're being an authority figure and having that exposure, they're gonna get over in that role. And because the fans in WWE are they're not gonna see it as two wrestlers wrestling. They probably don't even know that they wrestle. They're gonna see it as like, what do they call it? Like the non-wrestling figures in the ring. And there's always like a unique appeal to that from the crowd standpoint. The way that like the crowd would be into like fucking, I don't know, like Lawler in the ring or some shit in the 2000s. And so like this would have heat if they actually chose to go.
Look, brother, all I need is the match to be good enough that Mattel feel like they can make a double pack of Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis, which would be the funniest. That image would, oh, brother. Yeah, grins to be had.
It's good shit. It is good shit. It's all good shit. Anyway, but we'll talk a little bit about Bound for Glory, a couple of super chats, and we'll get out of here. So, any last super chats, get them in while we're talking about these. The two things I want to talk about from Bound for Glory are Trinity versus Mickey and Speedball versus Ospreay. Just quickly touching on Trinity versus Mickey. Mickey James, hell of a wrestler, brother. Hardcore country, you know. Didn't manage to win the big one back tonight. Well, yeah, on the weekend, but you know. When you get defeated by Trinity, it's nothing to be ashamed about, is it, John? It's
an all-star match, you know. Win some, you lose some. I had fun with this one. It wasn't quite where I was hoping it would be, and I definitely think in 2023 they're like it's a bit of a challenging pairing, right? Because Mickey struggles to do some of Trinity's more athletic stuff, and I think the match that Mickey would like to have is not Trinity's strong suit either. But I had fun with it. Placement didn't help it either, if we're being honest. But it was good. Honestly, like. Mickey James still doing a thing in 2023 is like legit.
She's one of the greats, bro. I don't care what anyone tries to tell me. When it comes to American women's wrestling, Mickey James is absolutely, comfortably. I think you're crazy if you don't share the opinion. She's absolutely one of the great women's wrestlers of the past ever. You know, shout out Mickey, big fan. But yeah, like you mentioned the placement. And I think any match following what Speedball and Ospreay did in the middle of the show.
The whole show struggled to follow it. Yeah, man. It was different, right? It was a different thing altogether.
Different because it was special. They went insane. Like they just went. It was just straight crackhead wrestling, bro. Just it's the only word I can use to describe it. They just went insane, you know. Ibu famously on the Twitter app, give it 5 stars. It was a really great match, man. It wasn't just a very good match. Like, it actually exceeded my expectations, even with being how good these two are. But they just straight, bro. At certain points in the match, it looked like a fucking Bruce Lee fight scene out of like Chinese Connection or some shit. You know, like, it just went fucking insane. Ibu. Got the Ibu 5 stars.
Yes, it did. I didn't realize people, I guess, paid attention to my ratings that much. That when I made this post, people were like, "An Ibu 5?" Oh, I've gone 5 on I think 4 or 5 matches this year. The reason why
it's a lot, brother.
The reason why what the fuck? The reason why I went 5 is because it's just one of those things of just perfect situation, perfect place, perfect time. Like to me, there was an atmosphere in this that was akin to like the peak super indies of the 2010s, Like I felt like I was watching like the prime of Progress or like PWG in that type of sense, and that vibe had eroded and had been gone for a long time. So seeing this intimate setting where the crowd absolutely understood the magnitude of what they were witnessing really helped things. And that plus there was no pretense of we're trying to work a classical main event match right now. Like there were no like just listless holds or things of that nature. They weren't trying to just what's it called? They weren't trying to like work a limb or that. They just kind of went for it.
Yeah, they just went full.
There was
just
there was an incredible atmosphere for this, and they just kind of worked at a violent pace for like 20 minutes straight, nonstop, and then like escalated from the pace that they worked at the beginning. So this was just sensational from that standpoint. I thought this was fucking killer.
Yeah, this is the perfect version of this pairing, right? Basically, is the best way to put it. And it's
Yes.
When this level of creativity combines with that degree of execution, there's things in this match that were like breathtaking. It's like, whoa, what just happened? That was special for sure.
Yeah, it was insane. It was insane. Like I said, they just went straight to 10, and but instead of coming back down and going back up, they just went to 12. You know, like they went crazy, man, and you know that's why the big indie fans are like, "Oh, Speedball's the best in the world." And there's plenty people who think the same about Will Ospreay, you know. So yeah, like you said, Joe, probably the best match that you could even imagine these two having. It was spectacular. Best match on the show, pretty comfortably. Best match of the weekend, I'd say. Yeah, man. Another fantastic Will Ospreay outing. Darren Walker, as we finish up here before Raw. Darren Walker, £5. Appreciated. Which CMLL talent thinks...
He said CMML.
CMLL talent thinks seeing AEW? I think that's meant to say, which CMLL do you think we see in AEW? And any women in CMLL? I know they got a big women's event soon too. Ibu, you watch the weekly shows, brother?
Yeah.
Prove it.
Well, I could see Stephanie Vaquer making her way onto AEW programming. She was seen with Thunder Rosa. She was she wrestled Mercedes.
Yeah, she wrestled Mercedes, and people liked it, didn't they?
Yeah,
On the men's side, Soberano Jr. is he CMLL?
Yes, he's one of their young stars. He's
very good.
He's kind of elevated to near main event status this year. Him and Mascara Dorada 2.0 have really ascended, and Templario
he's spectacular.
And Templario has continued his ascent that he kind of really underwent last year. And they're like three guys that are in their 20s that are being pushed at a high level at CMLL, right there on just under Mystico. It's why they're having this resurgence month. Is that like there's a bunch of just new guys ascending at the same time, which is really exciting. I could see any one of those people that I named just kind of getting a spot appearance on this, on an AEW show. Mystico is the easy one that can keep coming back because he at least is like recognizable a little bit to circles of American fans, whereas those other guys aren't. But fucking go full nitro, just throw them on there, you know, and let them get over. But those are the key names that I would say you can look out for it and expect maybe on an AEW show at some point. So,
Mulchism, $5, appreciate it. Do y'all know is Corey still coming to WWE or is it a hold up? Yeah,
no,
I was gonna say, assuming she was still coming. There's been no hold up out of what was expected anyway. She's only just finished her last Stardom New Japan date, so that wasn't that long ago. That was like a few weeks ago, literally. So there's been no hold up in terms of what we know or whatever's been reported or whatever the fuck, because she wasn't ever meant to be coming in straight away anyway. Yeah. She had that date to do. So Will Chisholm, $5, appreciated. Do y'all know is Stardom and AEW have heat? Because Stardom seems to work with everybody but AEW. A lot of Joshi fans say this, but I don't think so. Stardom always just seem to be having shows on the days that people want them to work with AEW.
His schedule is crazy, bro.
I strongly doubt they have heat. You know, maybe Stardom just think, what can we get out of it? You know, and maybe it just don't add up for them to give away their big stars when they're probably going to have a big show on the same days. I don't know. There's always pros and cons to these things, and also it's not like Tony Khan is it's not like he's fucking always like trying to book the biggest women's matches and stuff like that. You know, so it's not like. I don't think Tony Khan is exactly banging on Ross's door. Do you know what I mean? So I'm sure he'd be happy to work with him. It'd look great, but I don't think it's something that he's like, like constantly pushing for and trying to make happen. I'm sure he would, but we'll see what happens. All right, we can wrap up. I think we actually managed to tick everything off in our 2-hour slot. We talked TNA, we talked Mystico, we talked fucking Punk, we talked TNA, some more TNA. We interviewed Leon Slater in there, which was a great time as well. Massively appreciate him for passing through and you guys for tuning in for that. And talked about the weekend and all that stuff, and hopefully we managed to tick off everything you guys wanted us to speak about. Potentially back tomorrow. Depends on how Raw goes and if there's anything interesting that happens between now and then. So there is like a 50-50 chance to get me and Ibu tomorrow as well.
Akira Tozawa has joined the Alpha Academy.
Interesting.
Cute little thing.
Maybe we'll review that tomorrow. Anyway, people, please like, subscribe. We massively appreciate the super chats as always. Again, make sure you like on your way out. Always helps us out. And anyone got anything they want to plug real quick? Or hit this
match guide, noon Eastern time will be out tomorrow. It's in the new Tuesday slot. That'll be out tomorrow, folks.
But yeah, make sure you're all subscribed. Make sure you all like the video. Make sure you all keep an eye on the WrestlePurists page for the Joe Hulbert weekly match guide. Important stuff. Joshi guide also coming out tomorrow. Ratings are up on the site right now. Good stuff. Appreciate everyone for watching. We will be back either tomorrow or Wednesday. And thanks for watching. Peace.